My God, it's full of stars. Have you ever wondered? Dr. von Vrilock here. Tonight's podcast is Psionics, a curiosity. Indeed it is. I would like to start tonight's podcast with a question. If we understood the universe, what would it say to us? Imagine it. If atoms, electrons are speaking to one another all throughout the universe, even light years apart, what are they saying? What's the message? Imagine if we knew what that message is, what those instructions are. Are they sending instructions between one another? Are these messages the building blocks of the universe? Is it a maintenance system? Imagine if we knew what we could do. Well, for starters, I was going to open this podcast with the question of what is our greatest opposition in life, in this reality, in this physical world, in the universe, at a macro level and at a micro level. And I believe the answer to this question to be entropy. Entropy is the enemy of all peoples. There's the old Latin saying, tempus edax rerum. Time devours all things. Entropy. And we know about this even predating scientific thinking, going back to the old Teutonic and the Norse lore and ancient mythology. And there are many metaphors which attempt to explain to us, or at least get us thinking, sort of like how tarot cards do. For those of you who don't know, tarot cards did not originate as cards, it was a book. And the most important card, we might say, is the magician, which explains to us about ether and that dividing and branching out into all things we know from electromagnetism. It's in that card. There's the image of the magician, the hermaphrodite, man and woman, the ether dividing into electric and magnetism, forming the world that we know. But we are a part of a much bigger view if we are willing to share the vision of this universe that we exist in. You know, approaching companies like IBM, I have to really just appreciate the work. I was reading a brief article about a Japanese woman working on the quantum computers for IBM. And I've always just found quantum computers and then the concept of chaos computers and artificial intelligence very more than interesting. It's like I'm thirsting for the knowledge and the prospects of what this technology can do for us. And I think it goes beyond technology. We will reach a point where the technology and magic are nearly indistinguishable. And we will have a very different reality. It will change the way we think, work, play, live, philosophize, everything. And it's an exciting time. For some people, maybe it's a little frightening. But I assure you that the future is better. Man's tools, humanity's tools, from Prometheus to modern day marvels. The world is better. I mean, think about it this way. In ancient times, a king would give away more than half his kingdom just to have an air conditioner. You may not realize the luxury that we all have today, that most of us have today. Yeah, think about that. A king would give away more than half his kingdom to have an air conditioner. That's saying a lot. So technology is one of the keys to humanity's prosperity. It's not a bad thing, despite a lot of what yellow journalism says to the contrary. I mean, if you can make a buck these days, people will write and profess just about anything and everything they can on every conspiracy theory, although some things are true. Getting back to topic, though, imagine if we could understand how quantum is communicating across the universe and possibly into other universes, a multiverse, then this ancient enemy that we know as entropy might meet its match. That is, we would change so fundamentally that we might be able to actually really influence and transform our reality. In the old science fiction, particularly in the writings of E. Doc Smith, Edward Smith, his novels, The Skylark of Space, there was reference, I believe, in Skylark Duquesne about the model is the reality, and that's in reference to a particular scene in the novel where the lead antagonist is working with an apparatus in a cabinet that produces this holographic type of model, and that model, so being influenced by the mind of the operator, transforms the physical reality that the model represents. So, like today, we might be working with holograms that are seemingly separate from the reality that we live in, the physical world, but with the adjunct of understanding quantum. You get where I'm going with this? With understanding how these supposed subatomic particles, whether they behave as particles or waves or what have you, if we understand what their message is, what they're communicating between light years apart, then we can incorporate this into a language that interfaces with holograms. And by doing so, imagine what computers would be like in the future. Meet George Jetson, right? Or like Star Trek, your food is materialized. Just by speaking to, hey Siri, I'd like a cheeseburger. And Siri might ask, would you like onions on that or a side of fries? And it's manifested. And it all starts by understanding that relationship between these particles and waves. What quanta is speaking, the message But in order to get there, people have to embrace the vision. What if psionics can answer these questions? What is reality? What is quanta speaking to us? What are electrons talking about? I mean, it must be important if an electron in the Milky Way galaxy is communicating with an electron maybe in Andromeda or Orion. You know, why are human bodies, why are our cells speaking to each other, and albeit why are human brains sending signals, sort of like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, to try and communicate with other people's brains? I mean, without even any conscious effort on our part. It's already naturally doing that. So you might say that psionics is natural. It's already in the cards. It's inevitable that we will get off the boat and step foot on shore of a new continent. And this is our future. The page is blank. It is waiting for us to write this reality. So I welcome you to Vrilock.com. Subscribe, get in touch with us, and let's go into the future. Psionics is a curiosity. Imagine the world, and better yet, reimagine the world and project it. Thank you for joining me tonight, and until next time, I want to remind you all to keep the magic high. This is Dr. Vrilock, signing out.